host, Geraldine.
Another time.
Lita.
What?
Thank you for joining us. Oh, joyful heart. No.
You gonna be that guy?
Right. He's going to be that guy, and I'm going to bring this girl. I'm going to be Geraldine.
Gerald.
And I'm asking you.
Geraldine
Geraldine is asking you to subscribe down below. Me looking at you, looking at me, looking at you. Subscribe.
Subscribe.
Don't hit the bell.
Don't hit the bell.
Don't hit the bell
Don't hit the bell.
unless you want to be notified.
Yeah.
And I don't like being notified.
I'm tired of notifications.
We're tired of notifications.
Subscribe.
No bell.
Tired of notifications.
Move your cursor over. You're too far over. Move your cursor over. I see it. It's right around there. No, come over. Are you colorblind? It's red. Right?
I see it. I
You see it?
Right there.
Subscribe.
Right.
There you go.
Click. Come on. That was the left click.
Right there.
There.
Thank you.
All right. Hey.
Thank you for subscribing to our
Yeah.
Finally.
Appreciate it.
And you will not be disturbed. You just come check our page anytime you want to. And you'll get a small little email that says, hey, we put up a new pretty face.
Come look. Today,
All right.
guys, we're going to be talking about self-awareness. And when we talk about self-awareness, we're talking about knowing who you are and what your flaws, your positive traits, all that is. So my question was, how do you get someone to see themselves when they don't want to take any criticism?
Now, where did this come from?
So this stemmed from
Uh-oh.
dealing.
Don't you talk about your mama here. Don't you talk about
Hey,
your
I
mama.
don't talk about my mom.
No, she called me after that episode.
No, she did.
She said, she told me, since you sit next to her, the next time, give me an E flat. The next time you allow her to put my name in her mouth, I'm going to come after you.
I like that. I like that.
No, you better
Mama, I said, Mama, come get it. I want to see it. It's going to be fun. Anyway, so what brought me to that question is I deal with some people, you know, we all have these people in our lives
Beautiful
Yes.
people.
who see everybody else's flaws
Yes.
and a lot of them that they themselves exhibit.
Yeah.
But they can't see it in themselves. They can only see it in other people.
Right.
So they say, oh, this person, they always do this, and they always do that, and they always do this, and I can't stand when they do this. You know, they just need Jesus. And I'm thinking, you just described yourself. How do I tell you that and you accept it? Like, how do I get you to absorb that without being necessarily negative? You'd be like, you know what? Some of those traits that you just named off, like, you exhibit them and they rub me the wrong way. You know, how do
You
you
just gotta be straight up. But I know Apostle Eugene Satterwhite, and I will get
Why you
permission.
keep saying his whole name?
Because
She
I
just
love
does that. She
name.
loves doing
I
that.
love
All three of his names.
Because
You won't understand if I say my dad.
when someone becomes an apostle and a bishop, they are actually supposed to be identified by their entire name.
Really?
Yes, they are.
I didn't know that.
I just, whenever I say dad, you're not gonna know who I am.
Well, I'm not
And
gonna
I'm
do
kind of
it,
like
'cause-
bragging because he's a pretty anointed man of God.
Okay, well, go ahead.
Needless to
Apostle
say,
Eugene
at 5 years old,
Yeah,
he
Yes.
taught me this
How
poem,
you saw?
and it was called "I am a fault-finding judge."
Say it.
It says, "I am a fault-finding judge.
Jesus.
I never see good that's been shown. I'm so busy finding fault in my brother, I never realize my own. I sneak and creep and peep. I watch every move you make. I never give credit where credit is due. I only see your mistakes."
That's pretty cool.
And I've always remembered that since the age of 5.
I like it.
I'm the age now. But I can tell
You're
you.
25. It's okay.
Okay.
How do we get those people
But
to see that?
I got that.
You met when they were 5.
I like that because, you know, a lot of people can't see themselves because they don't want to see themselves.
True.
I have no problem with being transparent because I find that when I'm transparent and you criticize me, I'm gonna look at it because sometimes you could be criticizing me to tear down my self-esteem, or you could be really criticizing me to encourage me, build me up, and teach me how to, you know, go further in life. So I'm going to evaluate it and I'm going to look at it. But a lot of times I'm so transparent, you know, that's why I don't take criticism because I done already said it. I'm just saying.
I think
Because that's
that.
easy for you.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
Where's your
say.
accent coming from?
It
That's
did. She sounded like
easy
she
for
was
you.
French or something. But you, easy. But not for me.
Yeah, subscribe. Oh, hold on. Go ahead.
But no, I was gonna kind of say that what Letha was going. A lot of times, transparency sometimes is a little bit easier than reflection. So transparency.
Woo!
He be dropping bombs, y'all. Say it again. Sometimes,
Transparency is easier than reflection.
in other words, let me keep
I know, yeah, please,
In other words, I'm gonna tell you in just a second.
Mikey,
You guys
Mikey,
go.
brother, will teach me how to
In other words, it becomes easy to look through an image. Oh my God. I don't want to have church for me. But it becomes hard to look at an image, especially when the image is you, tag.
And watch this. Many times we don't understand reflection is actually the opposite of what we know.
Ain't you ever had your phone and y'all, I need you to subscribe and send an offering. We got PayPal, we got Cash App, send an offering, all right? Because have you ever looked, because I've done that, Ty.
Yep.
I have looked, and this is bad. I'm being told, I'm so
Just be
serious
honest.
right now, but it's bad, right? I'm scared to say this because people are gonna judge me.
Judge and subscribe.
I look at certain people's selfies
Uh-huh.
to see if they're wearing their waistband.
You better
No, I'm
shut
serious.
up.
Listen, I have a serious issue.
Really?
I have a serious issue with people that don't wear their wedding band.
But they forgot.
Mike is in the shop though. Mike is in the shop.
No, you said that. You
Yeah.
said
Yeah,
that.
we did.
And I don't judge to the point where I put you in hell.
Oh,
But I have
okay.
a serious issue
Okay.
with people who don't wear their wedding band. And the reason being
All the
because
time, you mean.
people will turn. Okay, I know where it came from.
Because
I now know where it came from.
Because-
Okay, honest moment. And I'm not trying to hurt nobody's feelings, nothing. But I was in a relationship where when things were bad, she would
Took
leave
it
her band
off.
at home.
Took it off.
Okay, so I just realized where that
That's
came from
what
and talking about it. She would leave the band at home.
Yeah.
And we'd be in public and she wouldn't have it on. So because of that, it developed a serious issue. So I literally watch people on Facebook.
You have a complex.
Man,
if you know
why
the
they ain't got their band on? But now, let's bring it back to what you were saying. The reason why it becomes so important is because there are a lot of people, check this, that I have internally condemned for not wearing their band, all because I didn't realize that the way they took the picture,
It's the opposite.
Was the opposite, was the reflection,
it was a reflection. It wasn't them pointing the camera at themselves.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
What ain't that part? Tag, go on,
So
bro.
anytime.
What we gonna do about that?
Your kid is in the middle like,
I want my joint from home. Get the switch.
No,
At least I
but-
don't get the backhand over here. I get the backhand.
I'm sorry.
I don't know what's going on.
I get the grab. I get my sister grab.
All of a sudden, you know.
I get the sister grab. Shit. Do not tell me. Do not tell me. Put him on the
look,
switch.
I'll keep my hands like this. Go ahead. Finish that. Right.
So.
I got a word.
What I'm understanding, because becoming self-aware took me having to be conscious about what I saw, but more so how I interpreted what I saw.
Okay.
When I look through something, I'm getting now, my focus is off. So when you put an empty glass on the table, you can see through it, but your focus is off. Once you, watch this, try it at home, you put water in that glass, try to look through it, what do you see?
It's dysfunction.
It's so distorted.
It's distorted. That's the word.
So many times when we try to be transparent, people look through the contents of who we are and they get a distorted view of who we are.
Right.
The only person who has an authentic view is when they look at your reflection.
Right.
They see the opposite of who you are. So you either have a distorted view or an opposing view. The only way to become self-aware is to remove yourself from the mirror and to just sit with yourself. Because if I'm looking at myself, I can lie to myself. I can say, that pimple ain't real.
Ain't that what they do?
Marcus.
Ain't that what they do?
But I'm not.
You know I got this amen over here.
I didn't touch it.
But I'm not looking at myself.
Uh-huh.
But when I'm sitting in myself,
Yes.
there's nothing to lie about.
Oh, my Lord.
I can't deflect attention away from me by looking at me.
Right.
I know that sounds almost counterintuitive, but when I see myself in front of myself, I can now deflect from the reality and point out the positivity.
Pastor.
Because many times self-awareness makes us remember what we tried to lie about.
He's stealing your message.
He's still.
He's trying to find the right.
Because that's what really happens. Sometimes when we're trying to defeat the process of becoming self-aware, we lie to ourselves. We say, I'm not really that.
Right.
People are hating on me.
Right.
Instead of saying, no, I really possess that quality. I'm okay with that quality. But what I'm not okay with is people addressing me in that quality of who I am. I don't want to change.
I saw it.
I'm not trying to change. What I'm trying to become is a better version of me. I don't want to be a different me. I just want to be the best me. That's all I can be.
All right.
In my me, on my knees.
Come on, we need an usher. She about to get this. Oh, man. All right now. So we have a punch up in here.
You gotta subscribe to get this kind of You gotta subscribe.
Yeah.
Got to subscribe. Subscribe. Look at your neighbor. Subscribe.
Subscribe.
That's all I
What I thought about, and this kind of blows away his song, but if you understand what he was trying to say, Michael Jackson,
Man in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying?
For real.
When you think about what he says, I'm starting with me.
Start.
Yeah.
I'm starting with the man in the mirror.
I'm asking him.
I'm having a conversation with him
Sitting in himself.
and saying, I want you to change your ways.
Yourself.
Then he says, no message can get any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make the change.
Right.
And one thing I always tell people is the only person I have control of is me. So I don't care what anyone else has done.
Right.
Okay? Before I get mad at them, I'm going to look at me. Because guess what? Being mad at them, all I'm going to do is be mad.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I can't change them. I
And
can't make them
the
stop.
only thing you can control is your reaction to what's going on around you.
Right.
You can't change what anybody else does.
That's right.
But you can change your reaction. That's looking at you. So if I have this bad reaction, what does that say about what's inside of me? What do I need to fix?
It may not even be so much starting to fix it as opposed to starting to heal it.
True.
Many times, how do you get someone to be self-aware when they won't accept criticism is because that opens a wound that was not self-inflicted.
And
Right.
that's where they develop,
That's what they
the
develop.
art of
Right.
always pointing out other people.
Deflection.
The truth of the matter is,
Deflection.
it's not how do I get them to see themselves. Trust me.
They
They see themselves.
Yeah.
They know themselves.
Yep.
They don't want to deal with
they
themselves.
ignore
And in an effort of not dealing with themselves, I throw smoke screens up about someone else.
Else.
The key words is always this. Well, what about,
That.
Right.
remember
Yeah.
when?
Right.
And that's
Well,
to
how
take
about she,
attention
and
off.
how she gonna tell me when she's doing, or he's doing this, or they're doing that?
What is our avenue though? What avenue do we have to reach them? Because this is my thing. They're not only self-destructive, but then they destroy the people around them.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And it pushes people away.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want that person to heal, what avenues can you go to get them more self-aware?
Now, Ty is more profound than me in this one.
Yeah.
So, can I go first? Then Joe,
then I'll go. Because he gonna wrap
Because
it
he's
up.
profound in this one.
He gonna have us on the floor. We gonna make somebody
Right,
subscribe.
we gonna be prostrate subscribers. One of the things that I feel is necessary is that you have to develop a relationship of safety with a person.
Okay.
I don't think that they don't know. And I don't think that it's that they've never tried. But what do you do when you try and you're still stuck with? Think about the scripture talks about I had a thorn and I asked that Satan buffeted me. In other words, he made fun of the issue that I had. He was all the ways in my face. You got an issue, you got an issue. And it says it buffeted me. He said, I asked that it be removed 3 times. The response was not, okay, I'll remove it. The response was, my grace is sufficient. In other words, you're going to keep this. You're going to have to deal with this. And what you can't do, grace will cover. Okay?
Right.
So I think first it takes a good friend that says, hey, I've noticed that you bring out such and such.
Yeah.
But I also noticed that you deal with it. And what I'm telling you is that I love you the way you are. I love who you are. In other words, if you admit it, right, that don't mean I'm gonna change.
Right.
Okay? It's safe for you to admit this is an issue
Right.
with me. And I will cover you, not cover up for you.
Right.
Right.
I will cover you,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
while we try to,
Work it out.
you see what I'm saying?
Right.
But being that good friend where somebody feels safe to be flawed,
Yeah.
to be
Right.
vulnerable, you know?
Okay.
Go ahead, what you
So
got?
I
took it from you.
that's why I know we're related. Because
Siamese twins.
tomato, potato.
It only happened when we
You
subscribed.
said it.
I'm sorry. You know,
Right along.
we subscribed at the
Right
same time
along.
and we popped out, you know what I'm saying? Like,
But no, tomato, you said it the way you just said it a different way of what I was getting ready to say.
But I need you to say it your way because
But-
somebody else might understand it better the way you said it, as opposed to the way I said it.
Well, I was gonna say.
That's how you gonna say
Back in the day. Oh, that's bad.
Underground Railroad.
Right? Sometimes when I'm telling somebody about themselves,
Right.
I'm bringing up something that we're flawed together.
I was gonna say, you know, like,
Yeah.
And once
Yeah.
they're like, well, I know you're not. No, listen, I'm talking about me.
Right, right. I'm
And
dealing
when
with
I'm
that.
trying to expose myself to you.
Right.
But hopefully they see themselves and then they give you this. Well, I'm the same way, child. So they already confessed it with their mouth.
Right.
what if they don't? What if they be like, yeah, you are like that?
You know
Look,
what?
I told this about you. Now you gonna come to grips with this. You understand what I'm saying? If you don't take it this way, there's another way we can take it.
They be like, yeah, I noticed you was like that too.
But you know
Keep
what?
carrying till you slap.
I have a habit of when they say, yeah, you are like that, I go like that, you right, true that. I'm getting mad, so I'm gonna walk away. I'm gonna talk to you later.
That's when you walk away and say, it takes one to know one.
No, see, I wouldn't even walk away first. I'd be like, that's a pot in the kettle.
I didn't say that, I'd be like,
What
you
just
probably right, I am like that, I gotta go.
I think
And if I was treating you for dinner, I'm not
now
now.
you pay me.
Pay your own meal.
Just wait.
Pay your own meal. I see you got that little black cash app on. You might want to have some on it, because you paying for your own meal, sweetie. Waiter! Two different bags. I know I told you one, but split them jokers.
And you wanna make it obvious.
Y'all look funny. But no, I think I totally agree that the relationship piece is probably the foundation. The other things that I think, there are two things that I always rely on after a relationship. One is time, the other is patience. I think they're two different things. I think when someone is embarking on something new, kind of like a baby learning to walk, here's what's funny about our society. We love babies, we love watching them walk, but we forget how many times they fall.
Yeah.
We forget it takes you 400 times of falling before you learn how to walk. And we forget to understand that walking is merely you throwing yourself almost into a fall and catching yourself before you do. So
I like that.
that's literally what walking
I like
is. You're
that.
forcing yourself to almost fall, but then you know you're trained how to catch yourself, which is why when you trip, you're surprised. Like, wait, what? That's a process of self-awareness. When you say, I'm crying, I'm crawling, sometimes babies get frustrated with falling, so they hit the ground, stay there, and start crawling again.
But they eventually
And
do
they
what?
need somebody with a relationship.
They say, no, come on.
You can do this.
Over my-
You never see a person discipline a baby for falling.
Right.
No.
What they discipline is a toddler for falling and staying on the ground. It becomes a change because of the relationship. You trust the instruction that comes from the person you built a relationship with. When they come to get you and say, no, you can walk, sometimes you hold the baby and that baby is exhilarated while they're walking. Arms over the they look real crazy. And then you let them go and you go, oh, we take joy in watching the baby take 3 steps and fall. Isn't that amazing?
I got a video of my
But
nephew.
in life, when someone's building their self-awareness, if they fall, we push them. You shouldn't be like that. You're too old for that.
Yeah.
That's where patience has to come in. to realize some people are walking for the first time ever in their life.
Right.
And we gotta give them chances to fall. And then be there, relationship, to say, I got you. I'm your training wheels if you're on the bike.
Right.
I'm the assistance you might need to help you grow in an area. So when now you can say, I'm going to, but nope, I can take my own steps.
Right.
I can go up a hill, I can go up a curb. And love, the Bible
That's the
says,
biggest
with
thing.
loving kindness have I drawn thee. We spend so much time trying to deliver people, because the delivery of a baby is you're pushing something out.
Right.
Yeah.
We spend so much
But
time trying to push something out.
even with that though,
Mm-hmm.
there's a controlled push. The nurse
Somebody
told
is
you.
coaching you.
She said, hey, don't push that, don't push that. And I don't know why,
Hold up.
but I was there when she was saying, no, wait.
I tell you why.
Come on.
If the cervix, I believe,
Come
is
on,
not
sir.
open enough
Uh-huh.
for the entry point, you
Yeah.
will actually suffocate the baby.
You do what?
You will suffocate
I
the
wish
baby.
y'all would subscribe because what he's doing is he's sharing something with you. What he's saying is if you push someone out,
Too far, too fast.
you can strangle them.
Strangle.
Yeah.
Okay?
And give them more harm than help.
More harm than good.
And the problem with strangling someone, because someone says, well, they're not going to naturally die. No, but they will become in a state of shock,
Yep.
which means they never make it past this point. Because I have an eye, I got hit with a baseball in my left eye. Well, one of the things that the doctor told me, he said, your what's the one part that opened up? That
Cornea?
The part that opens up,
Yeah.
that's what I call it.
Yeah.
Pupil?
Pupil.
That.
He said your pupil is going to be forever in a state of shock.
Wow.
What that meant is that in my left eye, light can get in there quicker than this eye.
Because it's kind of dilated.
Because it's dilated. What he also said was it becomes important, watch this, for you to share with an officer anytime you're pulled over that you had an injury in this eye. Why? Because an officer, when they come to your car and flash a light, they're
It's
looking for a reaction
Right.
in your eye.
If there's
And the
no
eye is not
reaction,
going to react.
They're going to
right?
think you're on something.
Exactly. And so it
Wow.
becomes important
Wow.
that even in that we communicate with people so that they understand it's not that I don't want to change. But I'm in shock because somebody pushed me up.
We scar people for life and then create more instances of rescarring.
Absolutely.
Because we are not patient enough to allow the process to work. We become fearful because we can see the end result. Babies don't know what life will be like walking. We do.
We do.
Right.
And sometimes we make the misconception if a baby doesn't walk at a certain time, their development will be stunted because we have preconceived notions
That
of
at this
how
age,
things should
this is when
go
you're supposed to
because
walk.
other people have
Don't we
said
say
at
it?
this age
Don't we say it?
you're supposed to be walking.
That boy should be walking by now. He should be potty trained by now. And he be late and then turn around and be more educated once he start.
And so what happens with self-awareness is when we push people too far, too fast, we ended up causing more damage and relationships after us become negatively affected because we were too far in the process and didn't allow patience, time, and relationships
Okay,
to do it.
so what I'm getting
Mhm.
is that we have to love someone
Love.
with self-awareness.
Love is patient.
Love is patient, love is kind.
Love is not puffed up.
No.
Right.
Don't think about
Hey,
itself.
so
We're not talking about my weight.
Okay.
All puffed up?
Yeah.
No, just your ankles. It's them boots you be
I'm an
wearing.
elevator. I'm an elevator.
You need to change them.
So we're gonna love people into
Looking like you've been kicking
self-awareness.
rocks all your life.
Yes.
Introduce
You talking
the
about
subject, but don't beat them to death.
Right,
with
don't
it.
beat them. You don't beat somebody for being themselves.
No.
Right.
That just doesn't make any sense.
It's not
So we're gonna end it
So is it
with
all right?
loving
Mm-hmm.
and not beating people up. Thank you again for joining Joyful Heart Praise with your host Geraldine.
Yo, Ty.
Later.
We have to go through all of that.
Yeah, he gotta be extra, you know.
Have a good day. Have a good night. Go ahead on it. Please subscribe.
Have a good day. Have a good night.
Go ahead on and please subscribe.